Hey sis, it's your girl Charli, and I've been tasked with recording a 10-minute episode, and I want you to know that I have tried and failed, and 10 minutes is what I'm not going to be able to give you, okay? So what I'm going to do is, with this take, I'm just going to let the tape roll, and for however long it takes, I'm just going to continue to record until I get it all off my chest, all right? So first and foremost, I want to say that I hope you guys are doing well, both mentally and emotionally. I know we're still in the middle of, this global pandemic that is coronavirus, COVID-19, as that hoe has not left the building. She is still alive and wreaking havoc on our communities. And, she has completely changed the way that we live life. We work and we interact with our peers and our community. And in addition to that, we've been dealt blow by blow by blow, back to back repeatedly with senseless killings, or murders rather, of Black or African American men and women. Most recently, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, as well as countless others during the protest within the last couple of weeks. I want to say that I hope that you are doing your best to prioritize your mental and emotional well-being, as it's very important, especially in these times. I hope you're trying to center yourself and channel some type of joy, or, sit with yourself so you can sit with your feelings, and to not allow them to bring you down. And I speak from personal experience as, initially when the city shut down, the state shut down rather, I was okay because I know I needed a break from work, as I'm working 2 jobs and trying to run my business all at one time. So that's a lot. And I know I needed a break, so I took that time to, kind of relax my mind, my body, and, to kind of get me together. And then after about 2 weeks of that, I was like, all right, I got to do something. And what I did was I decided to get into the yard and, revamp some things and, change around some things in the house and, kind of do some things for myself, to kind of make my sanctuary or, the place where I lay my head a little bit more friendly, a little bit more feng shui, so that I feel better, when I lay my head down at night. So listen, well, lie, because chickens lay eggs. People lie. Yeah, that. Anyway, so that was during the quarantine. And then, like I said, I got back to work and, I felt okay because, I was back amongst my peers. As humans, we're social. And the crazy thing is I've worked from home for the last 5-6 years and it's just been me, but sometimes that takes a toll on me because I need that human interaction. Now I'm getting a lot of human interaction and I just want you motherfuckers to stand 6 feet apart from me, maybe 60 sometimes, because some of y'all get on my nerves. Yeah, I said it. Anyway, so with this back-to-back grief, now my emotions are all over the place. I felt grief, or I'm still grieving, guilt, because I don't know what to do or how best I can help protect myself as well as my friends and family. I've grown more anxious as the days go by with things that I can do, and scouring for information and researching on ways to make me feel safe in my home, as well as my person and the people that live in my home as well, my family. I am more concerned with my Black male friends than I am with myself, and I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling with doing everything, being everywhere. I think a little bit of anxiety has crept in a little bit with me wanting to unplug from the things that are going on, the news and social media, and wanting to be involved in the protest, wanting to lend my voice. So again, it's so many different emotions. But a different emotion today that hit me was inspiration. And I'd attempted to record this episode a few nights ago at like 2 a.m. And I was up for forever. And the episode is going to sound a lot different than it initially sounded. I was angry. And every other word was probably a cuss word. And I'm glad I didn't put it out. It's pretty much where I'm going with this. So anyway, I just hope that you guys are doing what you need to do. If you need to unplug, please do that. I plan on unplugging next week. I'm going on vacation. So I'm going to unplug from social media, from texting, from watching the news. I'm going to unplug as best as possible. I've scheduled my work so that I don't have to get on social media. I don't have to get on the internet. I do not know how that's going to work, as I do social media professionally. So I'm always on. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm willing to try. I've also felt the sense of overwhelm. And I have decided to take a short leave of absence from one of my jobs. They weren't too happy about it, but at this time I have to take care of me first. And if I don't take care of me, then I'm no good to myself or those around me or those that I serve. So anyway, again, you just have to make sure that you take care of you first, so that you're good to do what you need to do. So again, take care of yourself. And if you need help, definitely reach out to us. Let us know how you're doing, how you're navigating as best as possible during these trying times. What you found that works for you. Is it therapy? Is it singing, your reading, your coloring? Like I found myself doodling the other day. I haven't drawn in forever. I'm in the yard. Like I'm obsessed with growing my grass and making sure my yard is clean. I think that's because I'm getting old, but whatever. Anyway, so let's get right into the purpose of the episode. I feel that anyone that has a platform, anybody Black that has a platform, we have a responsibility to hold space for each other and to amplify each other's voices. And we have a platform regardless of its size. I feel that we need to lend our voice to the movement and to the revolution. And we need to amplify other dope Black voices. And that is exactly what we're going to do. So every Friday, starting with this coming Friday in a few days, we will be amplifying the voices of other podcasters, journalists, writers, reporters, social media influencers, even just the average Joe Blow who posts something hilarious or thought-provoking on social media, or any interesting white papers that we read, or articles or journals, or blog posts, vlogs that we see, any other videos, any movies, any TV shows, whatever. We're going to share that because, again, we need to amplify each other's voices. We need to be there for each other. And that's one of the things that we do very well as Blacks. We know how to hold each other up in these times, be it we make a funny, or whatever have you. That's something that we do very well. So again, every Friday, that's what we're going to be doing. So look out for that. So yesterday, many states held their primary elections, and many of us participated. And per my social media accounts, as well as my personal experience and those of my friends and family in other states, we have to do better. We as a society, I'm talking to everybody right now, we have to do better. If your vote, if your vote was not important, they wouldn't do all of this trickery and fuckery to be able to suppress your vote. Okay? Prime example. This didn't happen to me, but it happened to a friend of mine in the same city that I reside. She was in line for almost 5 hours to cast her vote yesterday. And when she got up there to cancel, like when it was time for her to cast her vote, they told her she had to do a write-in ballot because the machine malfunctioned hours ago. And they were still waiting on the election commission or whomever they are to come and service or troubleshoot the machines. 5 hours. In line. No chair, standing. No snacks, no water, no nothing. Waiting in line. Write your shit in. Because you can't use the machine. Yeah, that. That. Then, if you see on social media, the same thing happened in Georgia. The same thing happened in other states as well, to where several people turned around and said, you know what, I'll try to come back, or no, I'm not going to vote. In my city, at 9:43, 10:15, there were hundreds of people crammed into a local gymnasium, still waiting to vote, when the polls supposedly closed at 9 o'clock. And they extended it to 9 because they originally closed at 7. And they still had yet to vote. There were organizations and people ordering Uber Eats and DoorDash from deliveries from local restaurants and eateries so that they can feed the people. You had local politicians and attorneys going out with boxes of snacks and water to feed the people on the lines. Listen, I am proud of the ones who decided to stay so that their vote could be counted. But I'm going to need for the people, the election commission, to get their shit together. ASAP. ASAP. This has to be cleared up prior to the November election, or heads will fucking roll. Period. Okay? Now, another thing that really bothered me yesterday while in line is some of the conversation that I overheard. Some comments were, well, I'm just going to vote for whoever's black. Why did they have to combine my polling place with this particular place that made me travel 20 minutes outside of my neighborhood just to cast my vote? Hell, I don't even know who's voting. All I know is I'm just going to vote for whoever's black. Excuse me, can you tell me who's black on the ballot so I can vote? Well, why do I have to choose between a Democratic and a Republican ballot? Why can't I just vote for whoever I want to vote for? Yeah, this is my first primary, so I don't even know how this works. Listen, y'all, this is why it's important to be informed and active voters. We have to shift from being do nothing to informed and active voters. For the people that this was your first time voting in a local election and your first primary, thank you. Congratulations. Let's keep this same energy so that we can vote in every election, be it local or federal, because your vote is necessary. Okay? But before we go to the polls, we have a responsibility to ourselves to ensure that not only are we checking to ensure that our voter registration has not been tampered with, has not been mysteriously disappeared from the system, as another conversation I overheard. Oh, ma'am, you're not registered to vote. What do you mean? I've been registered to vote since I was 18. I'm damn near 50 years old. What do you mean I'm not registered to vote? What happened? You better call somebody down here or we're going to have a problem. Make sure that you are still registered to vote and that your information still shows up in the system with where you're supposed to vote as far as your precinct, your, it'll tell you which categories that you are eligible to vote in. So city council, county council, school board district or school district, Senate, those things. Make sure that all of that populates, right? Make sure that you have valid state identification. Okay? Make sure that you then research the candidates and their platforms to ensure that you know exactly who you decide to cast your vote for is the person that best represents your interest. We're going to stop voting on just a straight Democratic ticket or a straight Republican ticket. We need to learn how to vote for the person, regardless of party affiliation, that best serves our needs and the needs of our community and the needs of our children and the needs to further push the proper or the progressive Black agenda. That's what we need to do. In addition to that, after those politicians get in office, we then need to hold them accountable and hold their feet to the fire to ensure that they are doing exactly what they campaigned on. And they said, this is my campaign promise. This is what I'm going to set out to do. If they don't do those things, then what we need to do as their bosses, because they work for us instead of we work for them, we need to ensure that we are then unseating them. We are putting somebody's ass in a seat that is going to serve our needs, period. That is why they are there. They're not there to collect a paycheck. And that's what's wrong with the system now. That is why the system has failed and repeatedly and continues to fail, because we have 60-plus-year-old white men who are a part of the good old boys club, okay? And we have certain older Black men and women who are in office who have lost their way and could give two fucks about what it is we need because they're stuck in their ways and their heyday. Okay? We need to make sure that we're saying, hey, person such and such, candidate such and such, representative such and such, congressman, senator such and such, you said you were going to do X, Y, and Z by this particular time. You have yet to do this. Or tell me what you've accomplished since being in office. You're an elected official. You have a responsibility to your constituents to ensure that you do what's best for those people, for your community. And if they don't do it, the same as if you and I wouldn't do it on our jobs, what happens, right? So there's a process. So there's also a process with unseating a politician as well. If you don't do what you're supposed to do on your job, you get 86, you get white box, you get terminated, you get fired. Whatever your term is, that's what happens with you. The same thing needs to happen with them. And we need to not be afraid to do just that. Gone are the days where we have selfish people in office that do not serve their people. Now is the time that we take the reins and we say, okay, it's time for your ass to go. You're up for re-election, but we're not going to re-elect you. I need for you to sit the fuck down. I need to put some young blood in there. Somebody with a different mind frame. Somebody that's going to further the progression of our communities, of the society. It's shit going on right now that politicians who are 60 plus can't even wrap their mind around what's happening because they don't know. It's not they don't have the capacity. They're refusing to understand because they're set in their ways. And at this point, you have people who've been in office for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. They plan on dying in office and getting that forever check. No, it's time for you, ma'am and sir, to go. When they get in there, you also need to make sure that you yourself and your circle research the laws and the ordinance and the statutes that are on the books right now so that you can be well informed about how to best protect you and yourself and your home. You need to know what happens in the event that you get in this situation. You need to know what happens in the event that you have to protect yourself from somebody who wants to rob your home. You need to know what your laws are, what the laws are, and what your rights are when you're being stopped by the police. What this is, what this ordinance is. There are so many ordinances and statutes and laws that are on the books that mean us no good as black folk, period. It's still some Jim Crow shit on them books that need to come off. And if we don't know the law, how can we operate within those parameters to ensure that we don't get caught up in the system? So, yes, we need to vote, but we need to be both informed and active voters. We have to. We also need to start volunteering or applying for paid positions to be poll clerks, poll workers, and poll managers. The qualifications are very simple. You've got to be at least 16 years of age. You have to be 16 or 17 to be a poll worker. And I think in order to be a poll manager, you have to be registered to vote. That's it. I know in my state, you get $265+ to complete training and to work that day. So all of these are not volunteer positions. If you're motivated by money, do that. If you're not, volunteer so that you can help. Listen, these elderly, they are not technologically inclined. They don't know what the fuck is going on with these damn machines. They need help. They struggle with these laptops, and then they tell you to sign on line 56 and they can't find you in the system. Listen, we need a different system. We need to be able to swipe our driver's license, the barcode on the back of the driver's license, on a machine, and it should say, okay, Charlie, who do you want to cast your vote for? The Democratic or Republican, or do you want a complete ballot? Do what you need to do, press enter, go on the fuck about your business. The system has to change, and it needs to change now. Now. All right, so now that we've discussed voting, let's move on to these brands and how they're showing their solidarity. And as my girl Jill Scott says, you're going to hear the pages turn because I need to refer to my notes to ensure that I'm keeping track with the my talking points. Because y'all know from previous episodes, I can go off on a tangent and then forget exactly where I started. Anyway, so these brands, my inbox for the 5011 email accounts that I have polluted within the last 2 to 3 weeks, of emails from various brands that I purchased from, supported over the years, who, have my email address, with, we stand by you, we support you, we want to be an ally, we're listening, we're donating, we heard you, we want to protect our black customers, we want to protect our black employees. But what I'm not saying is we are committed to forming a board headed by an African American or black man or woman, a diversity and inclusion board, or we're committed to electing, X amount of black people to our board to ensure that we are, making sure that we include the black voice, or a quality and control board to ensure that before campaigns, especially these fashion campaigns, and some of these social media campaigns, before they go out, I know that there's a checks and balances process, but there needs to be one more that says, hey, can you run this by the black guy? Hey, can you run this by the black girl, to ensure that what we're saying isn't tone deaf, and that it doesn't have any racial undertones, as a lot of things that we've seen over the years in various campaigns. What I'm not saying is we will do better by putting our mouth putting our money where our mouth is in terms of supporting various causes. I'm seeing some of it, and some of these messages sound genuine. However, I don't see a lot of it because I think a lot of these brands and corporations fear the backlash of supporting Black lives and letting their customers know, all of their customers know, that Black lives indeed matter and that Black dollar matters as well. And I think that's why a lot of the brands have gotten on board, because they know just how much that Black dollar matters. They know just how much we can affect change. They know just how much we drive society. They know just how much we drive the culture. We know, and they know we know, just how much we can start a trend and they can take it and they can profit from there. Black culture has made millionaires and billionaires out of some of these people that head up these boards and these corporations. Black culture drives society now. Before, nobody wanted a big ass. Nobody wanted wide hips. Nobody wanted full lips. Nobody wanted big breasts. Now everybody got the goddamn habit. Everybody. Before, nobody wanted weave, or nobody wanted to admit the fact that they were wearing weave or hair extensions. Now every motherfucking body got them. Nobody wanted to use shea butter and jojoba oil and all these other oils and natural and holistic remedies. But I bet you that shit's in every fucking product now. On the ethnic aisle and on the beige aisle. When you go look for your hair products and your makeup now. So we're driving force when it comes to products and services and so forth. What I need to see brands put Black models first. And the Black models need to have their fucking hair done by Black stylists. Excuse me. I need to see brands that have Blacks and African Americans in leadership roles. And I don't mean no made up shit. Oh, let me go ahead and just do this to calm these motherfuckers down. No, I need to see them in actual roles to where they're making some decisions. If you really want to listen to your Black employees and your Black customers, really sit down and listen on a regular about how you can do better, about how your brand can do better, about how you can reach your Black vote, so that it doesn't come off to me like you're pandering for my Black dollar, because you know I can end your shit with just keeping my dollar in my pocket or spending it with a competitive brand that just so happens to be owned by a Black person. And from there, I move on to the NFL. I'm not a football watcher. I can't tell you nothing about football other than a few players' names that I've overheard in conversation with my male friends or some of my female friends who watch sports. I can't tell you anything other than a football player that I just so happen to find attractive. I can't tell you what position he plays on. I probably can't even tell you his age. I can tell you his name and who he plays for, and that's it. But I can damn sure tell you, and bet my last bonus, that the NFL is very afraid right now. They're afraid because not only are they in jeopardy of losing, excuse me, more money because of ticket sales, right? Due to Corona, as they will not be able to fill up those stadiums. Now, they will get people who will go to the stadium to watch these games. But it won't be like it was last season or the season before that or the season before that one. So that's a loss of funds right there. They also will not get the ratings and the views that they were counting on, because some of us are still protesting the NFL because of what they did to Colin Kaepernick starting in 2016. They lost money then as well. They're also afraid that this uprising and the revolution has reignited the fire in their African American and black players. Now, if it were me and I was a football player, me and mine or my close circle, if we were really about it, we would take the hit and take the fine for not playing in a major game against a major team that's going to be televised. We wouldn't play in that game. That's how we would protest. In addition to kneeling during the national anthem and probably putting up a black motherfucking fist during every game that's televised. Forget the games that's televised. All of the fucking games. You want to boycott? Don't take your black ass out there. Don't suit up to play. Or suit up, don't fucking play. Take the fine. That'll let you know how they respond, or how they respond rather, will let you know if they really care about you as a human being, as an employee, or if they really give a fuck about you only because you run them damn plays and you bring in the dollars. Period. Now, I know in a perfect world it will work. But in an imperfect world, sometimes we got to shake the table and shake some shit up to let them know that we're not playing. And too often, we have turned the other cheek so much, we only got two. How many more fucking times are we going to allow these people to keep slapping us in the face? To keep letting us know that we really don't matter to them? We have to do something that is revolutionary to let them know, I don't need you. Hell, most of the shit we using now was invented by a black person any fucking way. We built this motherfucking country. They ought to be glad for the ingenuity of our ancestors, or they wouldn't be using half of this shit. So I need for the NFL to retract those last two apologies, and it needs to go on and call his name. We fucked up, Colin, period. We did not listen to you. We were tone deaf. We didn't hear you. We didn't attempt to even understand one iota of what it was you were saying, because we can't identify with it. We apologize to you. We apologize to our fans. We apologize to our players. We fucked up. And going forward, we'll donate a portion of the ticket proceeds from every motherfucking game, from all goddamn merch sales for the NFL stores, NFL.com, all of that shit. We'll donate that directly to your campaign, your organization, the Know Your Rights organization. We want to offer you your job back on the field, as well as give you a position in the front office. Yeah, I said it. In the front office. And you can be a player's advocate, or you can be head of diversity, or you can be whoever the fuck you want to be. Create your own position, because we fucked up. And we gonna cut a check because we fucked up your livelihood. Yeah, I know he got this, this settlement to where, they're not naming, or it's undisclosed settlement, during this whole, excuse me, I'm outside and I shouldn't be. And the way my allergies set up, I really should be in the house, but whatever. Excuse me, this whole collusion case and everything. We know that. Fuck what Jay-Z's talking about. Get Jay-Z's ass out of there. Send him back to the fucking studio and put Colin's ass in that same fucking position, and give Colin some actual a voice so that he's able to help affect change from the inside. And if you want to be all lives matter, if you really want to be all inclusive, this is the way you do this. This is the way you prove to people that you were wrong, that it ain't have shit to do with that motherfucking American flag. It had absolutely nothing to do with the flag. And fuck Drew Brees and his wife and anybody else who says that the peaceful protest, kneeling during the national anthem, is disrespectful to America and that fucking flag. Fuck what it is they talking about. Fuck them, fuck their kids, fuck their mama. Fuck them. I need for these brands to get their shit together. They will not understand until this shit hits them in their motherfucking pockets. And we need more than a day. There's supposed to be a day coming up to where we withhold the black dollar, from white organizations and corporations, so forth and so on. Listen, we got a lifelong list of corporations right now who don't need our fucking dollar. As a matter of fact, let me tell you how disappointed I am. I put Lowe's down to patronize Home Depot. I won't be doing that shit. I'll be going back to Lowe's. Home Depot buy that bullshit. The CEO is talking about he wants to, or not wants to, he is going to continue to fund 45's presidential campaign. So he did the first round, and now he's going to do it again. So he did 2016. He's going to do 2020, so this year. And he's going to continue to put his money towards bullshit ass, racist ass causes. Are you fucking serious? Fuck Home and the Depot. Fuck all their classes. Fuck all the grass and the sod and all the shit that I'm supposed to be getting from them. Fuck all the mulch. I'll pay a couple extra dollars to go support Lowe's and their employees and their black CEO. Simple as that. And I'll do that until I can find a black-owned home improvement brand, store, website, whatever. We have to do this for all of the brands that we actually we patron. We got to look at the stuff that we use on a regular. Gas stations. Now I know it's very few that we own, but we have to do the research. And for those that we don't have a black alternative, we need to make sure that the ones that we are spending our money with, they understand, that we can take the money from their pockets and we can pool our resources and we can come after them with our own. We can be the alternative. We have the buying power. We as a community could really, 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 really do some dope shit and let these people know we are not the ones to be played with. Not. I saw a post the other day that says we are not our ancestors. We're not. We're not as strong as our ancestors. We don't have the wherewithal, not even a third of what they had. None. We go out here, we protest for the moment. First weekend, second weekend, first week, second week, cool. 30 days in, we're on to another cause. Or what we do is we fight amongst ourselves about in the way that we choose to protest. We criticize each other and the leaders of the movement, but we don't go to them with our critiques. We go to the streets first. Or we don't go to them with our demands and what we're asking for. We pop shit on social media, but we don't get out in these streets and do what we're supposed to do. We don't educate our circles. We don't talk amongst our circles so that we can grow, so that we can build. In that respect, we have to do better. I'm going to move on to this rioting and the looting and the protesting. Listen, we built this motherfucking country. It belongs to us. Burn this motherfucker down. If we can't get what we supposed to get, burn this bitch down, okay? Burn it. The only thing that they understand is green dollar and you fucking they shit up. That's it. That's it. But this is where we go wrong. We fuck up the communities that we live in. No, let's rebuild those. Let's make sure that we're keeping grandma's house. Okay? We're not selling grandma's house. Let's make sure that we are not allowing them to come into our communities to gentrify our communities. Let's make sure that we're building up our schools and our businesses, and we're improving the curb appeal, and we're making sure that we're keeping our yards clean, and we're keeping our houses clean, and we're taking pride within our communities and pride within ourselves. Let's make sure that we're doing our part for that, and then you go fuck their shit up. You burn their stores down. You burn their motherfucking houses down. Because truth be told, they want you to burn your shit up. And let me tell you why. They don't give a fuck about coming in your community to build that bitch up. If you ever notice, it takes a long time for them to put resources into the black communities. It takes them a long time to build shit up. In the community I live in, the elementary school was closed for over 15 years. And it was just an abandoned building. For over 15 fucking years, y'all. This is on city land. And it took the community to say, look, y'all got us fucked up. Tear this shit down or allow us to buy the land from the city. Okay? Or allow the city to give us the land so that we can turn this abandoned school around and make it a community center for the youth. You know what the motherfuckers did? No, y'all can't buy the land. No, you can't lease the land. We gonna tear the fucking school down. Put grass on top. Have a good day. This is why you go tear they shit up. This is why you go riot in their neighborhoods. This is why. Now, as far as the looting, on my timeline, the only people I see looting are the ones with monkey lips, the white folk. Them the only ones I've seen loot. Now, no, let me take that back. I did see a video of a few black folk looting a train, taking some TVs, some computers, and iPhones and shit. Y'all take them people them fucking iPhones. Tim not playing with y'all. Tim got trackers on them shits. They not gonna work for you. They bricks. Take them people iPhones back, Lord. Stop fucking with them iPhones. The iPhones ain't no damn good anyway. Take it from me. I used to work professionally with them. Fuck them iPhones. Take them shits back. Okay? I'm proud of the protests. We have come together, every state and various countries. I think it's like 20 some odd countries. And again, my number may be wrong. Excuse me. We have come together and we have protested, in the name of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd, and countless others, to make our voice be heard, because the Black Lives Movement needs to be amplified. It has to be. And it doesn't need to be looked at as something's derogatory, because we're saying our lives matter as well. Not only, as well. We're asking for equality when we probably should be seeking revenge. Equality is all we're asking for. That's it. The problem is, this is the real crux of the matter. If we're granted our rights, per the Constitution, equality, these motherfuckers would really see that they're not as superior as they think they are. Although they should already know that. But sometimes you got to put it in the motherfucker face to let them know, listen, affirmative action, like the people who really benefit from affirmative action are not blacks. It's white women. White women. Yeah, them. It ain't me. It's not me, a black woman. It's not my black brother. It's white fucking women. It's a lot of processes and policies and shit that needs to be just completely deaded at this point. It's got to be deaded at this point. My other issue is people protesting at the State House. Listen, the people not there. They're not at the State House. The lawmakers, the lobbyists, the legislators, they're not there. They home. They're their other jobs. If you're going to protest, take the shit to their door, their houses. They're supposed to live in your communities anyway. They're around the corner. Take your peaceful protest to their homes. Make your demands heard. Set forth an action plan and go the fuck home and wait for action. Don't wait long. Wait for action. Stop gathering at these people's State House. Nobody's there to hear you, boo. Nobody. Again, when you go to these people's houses, don't go acting a fool. Because these folk in various states still have the right to bear arms and protect themselves or stand their fucking ground. Go peacefully. State your demands. Get your protests on. Go the fuck home. Write your letters. Email your letters. Make your phone calls. Go to their offices. Do what you're supposed to do and do it the right way. Don't just assemble in the street and let that be that. That's it. No, we have to do more. We have to go further. We do. The crazy thing is, in times like these, you see other organizations that break away from our causes, and their rights and their cause or their demands get met and ours don't. I wonder why that is. That's really something that we have to think about. Look at the LGBT community. They've been fighting, but they've been fighting, some of them, alongside us. But now you've got most of their demands are being met. What about our demands? What's different for us that we aren't doing, that they're doing? The only thing I can see is we're not fostering a community and we're not being consistent with our protests. We're not holding feet to the fire and say, wait a minute, motherfucker, hold one. You said, and this is what you're supposed to be doing, so let's hop to it. Anyway, so that's what I got on brands and solidarity and voting. So my last thing, I think it's my last thing, because I'm at like 49 minutes right now. Let me check out. I had a checklist, child. Let me make sure I'm going. Protest. NFL. Ooh, child, I'm almost done. Okay, so cancel culture, real quickly. Cancel culture. I'm a proponent for cancel culture because some people can't be checked. And for those people who are above in their mind being checked, they need to be canceled. Now, I also believe that you need a few chances to get your act together after you've received that constructive criticism and you've received that tough love. Like Kanye should be canceled. I do realize that Kanye suffers from some form of mental illness. I get it. However, y'all gonna stop trying to make me believe that Kanye's whole plan, or he plotted to this whole MAGA movement and supporting the MAGA movement and supporting 45 and his administration's bullshit ass policies and bullshit ass criminal justice reform so that he could help get these people who have been over sentenced or wrongfully convicted out of prison. That is the biggest hill of beans that I've heard in a long ass motherfucking time. So I'm going to say fuck Kanye and his red motherfucking cap and his wife with her bad hips and skinny legs. Fuck all of them. I also want y'all to stop giving her credit for getting these people released from prison. She is only lending her platform, so she is a part of the solution, but it's a group of black women at the helm of the cause who have been doing this for years, who got her attention, and this is how she's helping them. Yes, I know she's studying for the bar. Yes, I know she wants to be an attorney. So what? Her family has profited. Everybody in her fucking family has profited on the backs and the sweat of black people because she laid her motherfucking ass down and she made a motherfucking dumbass, lackluster ass sex tape with goddamn, who the fuck is Ray J? Now I know who Ray J is, but again, Brandon's brother? Stop. You got famous and you done made all this by fucking Brandon's brother on tape? Have y'all seen the tape? Child, that shouldn't even been released. You laying there ooey ouchie, and because you laid there ooey ouchie, this is where we are now? Y'all done changed your face 3, 4, 16 times. We don't even know. We can't even identify your ass in the lineup from your previous picture that's probably on your ID. Chloe got a brand new motherfucking face a couple weeks ago. I ain't even know who the fuck she was. Damn, one of these little girls that belong to Caitlin's ass got brand new fucking lips that's bigger than mine. And y'all, I talk about my lips all the time. I got a full set of fucking lips. That whole lip's bigger than mine. Y'all out here enlarging your hips and you ain't done shit to take care of the foundation, your fucking legs, to ensure that you can support them goddamn wide ass hips and that big old bubble ass. These are the people who profit off of being cultural appropriators or culture vultures. Those need to be the first motherfuckers on the front line saying, hey, I support you. I'm listening. What can I do to help you further your cause? And yes, she has done that. But y'all have given her too much credit. Because she's not out here. Oh, well, yeah, her and Van Jones. Yeah. She not writing the motherfucking letters. She's not researching the statutes, the loopholes. She's not arguing the fucking case. No. And you sing this Kanye gospel if you want to, you're going to fucking hell. That's all I got to say about it. You're going to hell. Anyway, off my soapbox on that one. So let's now go to the current argument of defunding versus abolishing the police, and how police reform, how the argument has changed in the last week or two, and what it looks like. Because when I first heard defunding the police, I was like, oh shit, wait a minute. So what exactly would happen if we defund the police? Are we talking about bankrupting the police? Are we talking about completely doing away with police? What exactly? Because I have questions. And when you have questions, you're supposed to research so you don't go on social media sounding stupid. Okay? And you don't go in your circles and on your job sounding stupid. So with police reform, so initially it was called for like overfunding the police, right? And overfunding the police to ensure that they were militarized, so body cams, extra additional resources, tanks, and all this other riot gear and shit like this. And overtime and things of that sort to ensure that there was a heavy police presence so that they could proactively police underserved communities where they assumed or anticipated there was high areas of crime. And what resulted was higher number of arrests for low-level violations. All right? So now the narrative has changed. What they're wanting to do is they're wanting to transform policies of law enforcement to where it's more of a community-style policing. And defunding and abolishing sounds the same as well. So between these three, you'll hear some of the same ideas. All radical practices, but I think defunding will eventually turn into abolishing the police, okay? As we know it now. Let me say that. So with police reform, again, it's about transforming the practices and policies of law enforcement organizations so that you can they can perform their duties with respect for human rights and the rule of law. Right. Some shit that they currently don't do. And I'm generalizing, they don't do. All right. So what it looks like is they're supposed to protect the human rights based on laws. It exercises varying degrees of policing and security needs based on gender, age, class, and ethnicity, which is very, 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 very important. Because as we see now, when they police, they deal with white men different than they deal with black men. Because there's already an implicit bias that when they stop a black man, this black man is dangerous. He's an angry black man. So they already are on alert when they stop a black man. They already think he's going to be confrontational. They already think he's going to be a drug dealer or he's going to be a pusher, a bunch of bullshit. Their implicit biases need to be checked at the door so that they can effectively police and do their jobs. It calls for a public service system that is both efficient and effective. It upholds high levels of accountability based on law enforcement conduct. Some shit that does not go down right now because they don't hold the motherfuckers accountable for anything. Now, we've seen examples. We've had several, not many, several previous or former law enforcement officers being held accountable for what it is they've done. They're in prison, they're in jail, they're sex offenders, they're serving time, they've been fired, forget that desk duty, admin. No, we're taking your pension, we're firing you, XYZ 1, 2, 3. We've seen that, but we need to see more of it. They're also calling for, let me go to my next page. Sorry, hold one. Again, child, I have notes on top of notes. It calls for consistent and constant change based on societal needs, changes in crime, and threats to public safety. Some shit that we don't see right now either. They still policing like they rounding up cattle or slave or some shit. We're dealing with times to where now mental illness is more prevalent in all communities. They're not adequately trained to resolve these issues. There needs to be some training to ensure that they're able to de-escalate these situations. You see them going on domestic violence calls, or you see them going on calls to homes, and what they're doing is they're antagonizing and they're further making the issue worse. And we're seeing more deaths, more murders at the hand of law enforcement when it doesn't have to be that way. It exposes police malpractice, and or corruption. It provides consistent training on conflict resolution, conflict prevention, and mediation. It establishes a new political system that is easy for all to understand. And it changes the elections in office by appointing new leadership to further the movement. That's police reform, okay? Now let's go to defunding and abolishing the police. So defunding, if you paid attention, or not really paid attention, but if you, paid attention in 2014 during the Ferguson riots, right? The whole Mike Brown era. You heard about defunding the police then. But the argument was, let's defund the police. Let's not overpay the police. Let's not overspend on law enforcement. And let's put those funds back into the community. But you didn't really hear, or at least I didn't really hear, what that looked like. And sometimes you need illustrations, especially if you're talking about defunding something or divesting from something. So with this, defunding the police, you're pretty much just reallocating funds from the law enforcement to the community for trained professionals like religious leaders, victims and survivor advocates, mental health professionals, to go into the community to better handle those domestic or mental health situations, teachers, things of that sort, in marginalized and underprivileged or underserved communities. It frees up law enforcement to deal with emergency situations only. So there's no calling 911 because someone had trespassed on your property. There's no calling 911 because you have a tenant that refuses to leave your home, or, the residence. There's no calling 911 because a kid has showed their ass in school. It's now, let's call the trained professional that is best equipped to deal with this situation instead of involving law enforcement. That's what defunding the police looks like. Now, on top of what's allocated for law enforcement in the budget, they get a small percentage of the general fund. Sometimes it's 5 to 6 additional percent to overfund them, for them to harm our communities with the resources that our tax dollars provided for them. All we're asking, or all the movement is asking, is for that 5 to 6% to be reallocated to the community to better service the community and free up the police to do the protecting and serving that they vowed to do. It's pretty much all that is. That's it. That's it. I mean, if you think about it, when you call or you're in the middle of a crisis, you expect the person or the organization that comes to help you in a crisis is the person that is better equipped to handle that situation, right? The argument is defunding the police, it'll cause an increase in crime. That's actually incorrect. Because in the midst of defunding the police and reallocating those funds to the community for social services means, you're also now putting jobs back into the community. You're also investing into the schools. You're investing in the community by building community centers and things of that sort. Crime usually happens when there are no resources. If you look at the crime that is mostly happening in your community, it'll tell you what's going on. It'll tell you what resources and where we need to tap into the community to stop some of this shit that's going down. The same could be said for abolishing the police. So before I get there, and I'm going to link to this on the website. In 2017, there was a report by Christopher M. Sullivan and Zachary P. O'Keefe. Again, we'll link to that on the website. They pretty much studied records and reports from the NYPD, the New York Police Department, NYPD, for 2014 and 2015. Officers reduced proactive policing. When they did that, the crime rates dropped. Imagine that. We see the glorification of proactive policing and over policing on shows like Live PD, Cops. One of them, if not both of them, were just recently canceled, thank God. So if they would just pull the fuck back, instead of saying, oh, I'm going to police street ABC because I know ABC has a greater chance of crime because it's in the hood instead of the suburbs, and it's a black neighborhood, and I assume that they're going to be stealing over there because of this. No, we're not doing that anymore. Nah, absolutely not. No. So, and the crazy thing is, in high school, this is just a sidebar. In high school, I actually entertained the thought of becoming a cop. Like, I grew up, I had a childhood best friend whose mom was a cop. And she was like our dare officer, and she was a strong black woman. And I admired her because you didn't see many female black cops, or at least I didn't growing up. And, you know, we've gone on patrol with her. You know, we've heard about all these things that she's done, and she's gotten so many community awards. You know, and again, teaching dare and things to us, which is very important. And then I went to an interest meeting my senior year in high school, and they told me how much they made with and without a college degree. And I was like, you've got to fucking be kidding me. I'm going to go out here and risk my damn life every fucking day for these pennies and these peanuts? Kiss my ass. I can make this on a retail job. I'm good. Y'all have it. Keep your gun, your badge, and this bullshit. Thank you. I'm good. Everything's all right. I'm good. I'm good. Well, anyway, so now there is the movement, or, you know, in addition to defunding, now we're talking about abolishing the police. And from what I've read, the arguments are the same now. So I think defunding will then turn into abolishing the police, because there are a few things or a few arguments that are pretty much the same. And it's about, let me find my notes, child. Hold on, I'm sorry. So first of all, Minneapolis is talking about doing it. And you've got cities like Philly, Baltimore, DC, San Francisco, Chicago, various cities in North Carolina, San Diego, and St. Louis. They're all calling for divesting police funds to the community right now. So that's a part of the defunding initiative. With abolishing the police, they're calling for a more community style policing, to where, like, I live in a neighborhood. It's okay, I go to my neighbor, hey, this is my phone number. In the event that I'm not home and you see something happen, let me know and I'll do the same for you. And if you're in crisis, come to me before calling 911 and I've got you. If we're in crisis, this is a phone number or a hotline that we can call instead of calling 911, because 911 may come kill us, or they may, you know, escalate the situation. Okay, so back to abolishing the police, right? Or law enforcement. So just like defunding the police, you know, it's pretty much calling for reallocating resources and funding, as well as the responsibility away from law enforcement, but rather towards a community-based model for safety, support, and prevention. Okay, so that's, again, the same thing that we said for defunding. So it's more about changing the way that they patrol the neighborhood. And those that patrol your neighborhood need to be the ones that live in your neighborhood. They need to be the ones that are invested in your neighborhood. You can't police a people if you're not of the people. If you're not familiar with the people, if you can't speak the people's language, you can't get a good result from someone that you don't know. You can't get an effective result from someone that you don't speak their language. At this point, you're now a threat to this person because you're an outsider coming in trying to affect change. And many people don't respond to that. So instead of coming in or the community with your badges and your guns, now it's going to be a space for mental health service professionals and, again, social workers and victim advocates and religious leaders and neighbors and people who all come together who look like that community, who live in that community, who service that community to help stop crime, prevent crime, as well as to nurture the community. And then they'll do this in addition to law enforcement, but law enforcement will only come through for emergency situations and not what you deem to be an emergency, what is deemed on the books as an emergency. The police force would be smaller. It will do away with overtime. It'll do away with the militarization of the police and these forces. It will do away with these police unions that protect them and that cover up their corruption and malpractice. It would hold them accountable legally for their fuck ups. It will cancel pensions when they fuck up. It will instill additional training, mandatory training and education for each officer and continued education for each officer to ensure that they are equipped in addition or alongside with the professionals in the neighborhood to ensure that they respond effectively and de-escalate situations effectively in the neighborhoods that they serve. How does that sound? Because to me, the shit sound good. It sound real good. But if you think about it, there are arguments that cops prevent crime. And I disagree. I disagree. If they prevent crime, we wouldn't have as much police brutality that we have. We wouldn't have an issue with the number of things that we have in terms of the criminal justice system. I think there's an issue and there are things that we need to address, like the prison industrial complex, the school to prison pipeline. We need to talk about, various policies and laws, and culture and things that affect, like all of that to me goes hand in hand. That's some stuff that we need to address so that we can ensure that when this happens, not if, but when this happens in terms of defunding or reforming or abolishing the police, we get the best possible outcome. Because we're asking currently our law enforcement to do too much. We're asking them to do something they're not equipped to do. And because of that, some of the things that we are experiencing is a result of that. So, for instance, according to the same report I'm going to link to, we've spent $115 billion in the last 40 years on law enforcement and crime prevention. While that number has increased year over year over year, crime has actually decreased. Take a look at Los Angeles, for instance. Right now, their general fund has allocated $1.8 billion. $1.8 billion on law enforcement. That's more than half their general fund. More than half. Their mayor has since vowed to defund and reallocate those funds to underserved communities by $150 million. What? New York Councilman Carlos, Lord, what's the man's last name? I think it's Menchaca, has called for a $1 billion cut to the NYPD's budgets this year, and he wants that reinvested into the community. Like, there's so many communities and so many politicians and lawmakers who get it. They get it. But they have to go in and clean house with these officers who don't get it. And they have to go. And they have to go now. Now, what are ways for you to do your part, right? So, I'm trying to check off on my list, chat, make sure I keep up. I'm sorry. So, what you can do. We have to first stop calling police unnecessarily. So 911 should not be your first call. They do have a non-emergency line that you can call. Your city has like a 211 or 311 or whatever, have other numbers that you can call and they can route you to the correct hotline. We need to do our own training as far as crisis de-escalation. All right. We need first aid training. We need to, again, get to know our neighbors and continue to foster a sense of community. And it needs to be a genuine sense of community. Like, I don't like neither one of my neighbors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, I told you I'm outside 5. I don't like the 5 neighbors I'm around. But if something were to happen, I can go to them and say, hey, you weren't home. XYZ 1, 2, 3 happened. Do I believe they're going to do the same for me? Yes, because they nosy motherfuckers. But is it genuine to say, okay, I care about Charli's household, or I'm nosy and I want to know what's going on in Charli's household? Either way it go, we have to foster a sense of community. We need to, like I said, utilize local service, and hotlines instead of calling the police all the time. We need to organize and create support organizations that work to keep our community safe and healthy. We need to get involved with policy work. I said that before when it comes to voting and being active and informed voters. We have to do our part. We have to. In order for change to happen, we have to get involved and we have to stay involved. I feel like I'm missing something. I know I said a lot. I said it was going to be longer than 10 minutes. And it's been a whole hell of a lot longer than 10 minutes. My next rant that I'm not going to do on this particular episode, but I want to talk about, should blacks be the only ones to advocate and be on the front lines for the Black Lives Matter movement? Yeah, and we're going to talk about fake activism and fake wokeness. One last thing. If you were feeling like me last week in terms of you don't know what to do, you don't want to go out and protest, for health reasons, or, you work or whatever, there are organizations that you can support by putting your money behind them, and $1 goes a long way. You can donate water and snacks to protesters. You can volunteer to take protesters, from one area to the next. You can lend your platform if you have a blog, a YouTube channel, a Twitch channel, whatever. Social media to that. You can share accurate information on social media and articles to help educate, especially with the defunding and the divesting and abolishing and reforming of law enforcement. You can check mainstream media because they bought that bullshit too. You can check on your people and check on each other. You can do a lot. So we've got a list that I need to put together, and my hope is to have it done by this weekend on things that you can do. Because again, I felt helpless. But after reading this list, I was like, yo, I'm good with this. Like, this, yeah. Okay, yeah. So, hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully after this, you picked up on some things. If not, let's discuss it. As I didn't go too in depth, it was more of a rant, like, it was supposed to be. A long rant nonetheless, but y'all know how I do. And again, if you need us, we are here. And we would like for the brothers to check in. We do want to interview a few guys, to talk about how you're feeling right now. How you're getting along. How are you not out here looking crazy? Sidebar. Is it just me, or are the white people being extra nice right about now? Have y'all witnessed that? Have you experienced it? The shit is almost sickening because it's real fake. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm out. That's all I have. Until next time.